Hey everybody. Um, Tonight I'm gonna give you a video more on like thought cultivating stuff. I want this channel more to be more of a school of thought rather than me just ranting to you about how you should think and stuff like that. I prefer that kind of leadership and those kind of channels to watch, so that's what I want to try being to those who decide to tune into my channel. So I'm gonna start off with some books. Last year, I think I voluntarily read the most information books that I've ever read. Usually, if I voluntarily have read before, it's usually been um, fiction books, like the Redwall series, Narnia, Lord of the Rings, different fiction books. But outside of college, I haven't read that many information books. I've read some books about preaching. Homiletics from the Heart is a good one. Preaching that Pleases God is another good one. Preaching and Teaching with Imagination. I've read some preaching books before, but usually I've finished those about one a year, maybe two information books a year. Rarely have I ever gone as far as I did last year. Last year, like I told you all, was a massive transition year, and I found out how much I don't know. I found that out. You usually don't. You think you know everything about a subject or a lot about a subject until you actually do it. Then you find out how much you don't know. So, yeah, just being on my own, handling my own money, the whole marriage thing was just like, whoa, a lot on me at the same time, and just didn't quite do it all quite the right way. So I tried cramming as much information in my head to just, throwing as much paint at the wall and see what sticks. So I'm going to start off with some books that I read last year. I really advise any husband or soon to be husband, whatever, read this book, Like the Shepherd by Robert Wolgemuth. Look it up on Amazon. I'll try to put a link in the description below. I'm trying to figure out how to do this book thing. Are you supposed to hide behind a book when you're recommending it? Hold it up to the side, maybe read it out like I don't. Anyways, I do guns, not book reviews. Anyways, this is a really great book to get to read through if you're a husband. It's just really great advice in here. Leading like a shepherd, gently leading, not being authoritarian or totalitarian or being a dictator. It's being a gentle leader, a gentle warrior. Very good read. I advise every husband who watches my channel to read this book. Good information. But also along that subject, my my wife's grandmother bought me this book, but for the Christmas before we got married. It's a I love this book. It's a great book. Every couple should read this. It's Money and Marriage God's Way by Howard Dayton. This has a lot of good, just simple information about handling money, especially in a marriage relationship. And it's not just a book on money, like say Dave Ramsey stuff is. Jumping ahead of myself. This is generally money and marriage. There's a lot in teaching you how to handle money in marriage. He gives a lot of marriage advice while talking about using your money in marriage. It's of course there's a Christian slant on it, but still, um, it's really great advice in here. I love reading through this book. I think I worked through it in about a month or two. Um, I'm gonna try running through this with my wife too, so we can make sure we're on the same page and whatever marriage cliche I want to throw around. But really great book. I'll try to get a link for this in the description below whenever I remember to do it. So add this to your reading list. If you're married, add this to your reading list. Go through it with your spouse. Highly recommend. Also, if you just want to know about money, this guy is like a money god in America. This guy also uses common sense, smart. He's just a smart man. Got himself from negative hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of value, like in the negatives. He owed so much now to he's like a multi-millionaire, and he's teaching people how to do the same thing in their lives. So if you can get anything written by Dave Ramsey, read it and do your best to apply it. It might seem insane, but it works. I'm even trying my best to adapt some of his teachings into my finances, which I haven't done too good a job of doing. So yeah, be better at learning from what you read than I am. But those are just books. We're also working through Mere Christianity. I'm almost through that, but anyways, so those were three. Anyways, that's like the most information books I've worked through in 1 year. Strange. No, I actually finished Preaching That Pleases God this year, so that was 4 information books I read through in the same year. Record breaking for me. Now, if you're more an audible person, you like to hear things, I'm going to point you to a few podcasts you should be listening to. And if you're watching my channel, there's like a 90% chance you're already listening to these podcasts. And if you're not, fix your life and listen to them now. First one is the Student of the Gun Radio. This is done by Paul Markle, I believe his name is. He has Student of the Gun YouTube channel. He's a firearms instructor, sort of like E.J. Owens, but like Paul Markle runs his own podcast called Student of the Gun, and he is a big mindset person, which is why I really like listening to him. He's very practical, very adamant about what he believes, pretty libertarian in how he thinks, but he's very common sense mindset of a warrior, really warrior mindset, and not to like this uber tactical, James Yeager kind of tries to set himself up as a deity, kind of, like a tactical role model or anything like that. He just tries to equip you with the right kind of information so you can become the right warrior you need to be. So I really like listening to his podcast, Student of the Gun Radio. I'll see if I can link in the description box below for that. Another one, if you can find any podcast put out by the Firearms Radio Network, listen to it. They have AR-15 podcast. They have This Week in Guns. They have Trigger Words. They have We Like Shooting. They even had an AK-47 podcast, which sort of went downhill quickly, but I really like listening to the few podcasts they have. So those are some firearms related podcasts that are really great. If you can listen to any of them, listen to them, you'll get a lot of knowledge off of that. Also, if you want to listen to some non-firearms podcasts and you're more, say, spiritually or family minded, focus on the family, daily in the Word, and I also like listening to Jack Graham's preaching. Those are all podcasts. If you want to get to the Jack Graham, PowerPoints is the podcast he has. But there are a lot of, if you can listen to anything focused on the family, listen to it. They're really smart, really great spiritual leaders and thinkers, and they just get a lot of good thinkers and a lot of good teachers, counselors on all of those podcasts. Listen to that stuff. So I know this has sort of been a scattered video. I'm talking off the top of my head at whatever time of night it is, but if you want to become a reader and any of these books interested you, there again, how do I hold these up? If any of these interested you, get a hold of them. Do your best to digest all the information that's inside of them, and I believe these will make you into better people. Also, the podcast will do the same. Just listen to the podcast, understand the opinions and the information they give out. I believe you'll become a better warrior, better person, better family member because of them. And with that, I'll remind you to walk a Christian walk and carry a loaded Glock. Yes, it's loaded.